catch you at noon. You timed the opening exactly perfect there.
Listen, I'm getting better and better every day. Every day,
every day I'm getting better and better. Every day I'm getting better and better. Hey, so ladies and gentlemen out there in Facebook land and YouTube land and whatever other streaming platform you are checking us out on, my name is Josh. My name is Judah Hoover, and that's Josh Weidman. That right there is Josh Weidman. This is the Build and Grow with Real Estate show, and we come to you every day at noon on the Real Estate Hackers Network. The reason it's called the Grow and Build with Real Estate show is because we want you to not only grow your real estate portfolio, not only grow your bank account, but we want you to grow your skill set. We want you to grow who you are as a person. We want you to grow what you're capable of. We want you to grow your thoughts and your ideas and your opinion of yourself and your ability to change and impact the world. So my father always told me that firearms are just a tool. It depends on how you use it. Money is just a tool. It can be good or bad. It depends on how you use it. Flame itself, fire is just a tool. It just depends on how you use it. I think real estate is the same way. So yes, real estate can be profitable and it can give you financial freedom, but there's a whole lot of other things that you could do with real estate. So we want to grow and build with real estate. Josh, tell us.
You flipped it, man. Build and grow. Grow and build. Build and grow.
Grow and build. Grow and build. Grow and build.
All the way around. Build and grow. You got it.
As we discussed yesterday, I am dyslexic, so I get a
pass. You get a pass. Awesome.
Who are you, Josh?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm Josh Weidman. I have been a real estate investor since 2006. So we're well into my 13th and a half year, I guess. But I've been investing in real estate, started out as a wholesaler, flipping houses, had a property management company. And now I've got a hard money lending company right here in Central PA. We are local. We lend in a handful of states, all of Pennsylvania, New Jersey, Delaware, Maryland, Northern Virginia, and DC. Hard Money Bankers is a direct lender, which means if you are looking for funding on your next project, you can reach out to me at 717-213-8488 or email me at josh@hardmoneybankers.com. If you do that, we'll be able to give you a, underwrite the loan and give you an approval same day you contact us. I've had a lot of inquiries about pre-approval letters. And that is something that here's how this works. I mean, I can give you a pre-approval letter ready to go out the same day you contact me that you can hand in with your offer, because that's one of the things we're going to talk about today. Hand in with your offer that says, boom, this property, this dollar amount, you're ready to move forward. And it puts a lot of ease in the seller's hands when you're making that offer. So we'll get you approved the same day. We can close within 24 hours once we've got everything ready to roll and the title work is clean. So that's all from me. Judah, tell everybody a little bit about yourself.
First of all, first thing about myself is tomorrow is my 41st birthday. I turned 41 tomorrow, and Tina here at Slate House Group gave me a nice little bottle of Kentucky Straight bourbon whiskey. Kind of excited about that. I'm a black coffee drinker. I'm a Maduro cigar smoker, and it took me a while, but I do like good neat scotches and whiskey as well. For the longest time, I was not really a bourbon drinker. So tomorrow's my birthday. Slate House Group is a great company to work for. I don't know whether the whiskey is from Tina herself or from the company, but in any case, I plan on enjoying it. Slate House Group is a full service real estate company. And if you're looking to ever buy or sell real estate, be it for personal reasons or an investment property or something like that, give us a call. If you're ever looking to manage anything or have anything managed, give us a call. That's what we're here for.
Awesome. So yeah, if you're out there watching our program for the first time, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, we go into some education. This week, we are covering the top 10 tasks for your first 30 days as a real estate investor. Thursdays, we have a guest. And then Friday, we jump into the weekly news and kind of dig in and talk about how it impacts real estate and investing in general. But Judah, tell us a little bit about the guest we're going to talk to tomorrow.
So yeah, and I do have. Before we get to that, I just have one. So I'm a Fed watcher, just really quickly. So I don't watch too much politics, or I mean, I watch a lot of politics, but I don't talk about politics because it's become far too polarizing for most people on a category level. But I love discussing monetary policy. I love discussing the Supreme Court. So the Fed and the Supreme Court are the two things that I really enjoy discussing. And I'm a big Fed watcher from my days in the mortgage industry and discussing mortgage-backed securities. Fed numbers, and they came out with a lot of. They had a 2-day meeting, and what they said was they talked about how retail sales numbers are up 17.7% in May after being down 14.7% in April. So down 14, up 17, you can do the math. That's actually an improvement. Now we're still in a hole because of February and March and everything like that. But we've come back as much in 1 month as we lost the 1 month before that. And there's, we talk about on this news show for the 3 to 5 minutes we do news every day, things that make it sound like we're going into a V-shaped recovery, things that maybe make it sound like we're not going into a V-shaped recovery. And we try to be very pragmatic and diplomatic about all that stuff. And so there's some good news out there. Fed President, Fed Chair Jeremy Powell also said that this economic the economic impact of the pandemic is a real inequality increaser. And I thought that was interesting. Obviously, inequality is a problem not just with our nation, with every nation throughout all time. I mean, inequality is a main issue. It's part of the human condition. But yeah, so that's it's interesting. It's interesting how we see politics and business being blended in a way that maybe hasn't been before. So anyway.
Well, so I want to piggyback on that. What's very interesting is that I was reading an article, this is probably a month ago, about inflation, right? And inflation and how it affects different strata of our economy. And what people found is, what this economist found, is that if you look at people on the high end versus people on the low end, inflation overwhelmingly affects people on the higher end of the pricing spectrum. Like if you're buying a pair of $400 or $600 jeans, these people are paying significantly more as a percentage of their, maybe not a percentage, but significantly more than inflation than they would have maybe 10 or 15 years ago for the same type of high-end products. Whereas on the lower end, the Walmart effect has virtually eliminated the the lower end of the strata as far as inflation goes. But I mean, it's just interesting. You've got different takes, and it depends on who's writing the article and who's reading the numbers.
It is definitely interesting. As far as our guest tomorrow, you talked about, is a gentleman by the name of Anthony Moore, somebody who I met following these principles. Number 2 or number 3 on this list of 10 things to do is plug into your local real estate investor community. And Anthony and I met after bumping into each other 2 or 3 times in the York Real Estate Investors Meetup. And we struck up a friendship, and I've done some, I don't want to say it's coaching. We've become friends, and I know more about real estate than he does. And so I've been able to help him take action. And he's a really great guy, and he continues to take action. And he has done 8 deals at this point. So he's taken action. He's having success, but he's still pretty much a newbie. And I think it'd be somebody that would be really good for us to interview tomorrow and just talk to him on his take of taking action today.
Yeah, and typically when we bring a guest on, we try to make them relevant to whatever we're talking about that week. 2 weeks ago, we had Eric Brewer on from CR Property Group, and they do 30 units a month. And have a huge wholesale and retail operation. And I think it's just good to see different slices of the real estate community as we go through that. So tomorrow we'll have Anthony Moore on. I'm really excited to talk to him. But in the interim, let's jump in here. And we're going to do a rapid fire review of what we covered Monday and Tuesday of
first 6 points that we're going to get into. First 7 points, then get into 8, 9, and 10. So Let's
Top
go. Point number one.
30 days. Go for it.
Call every single We Buy House sign, call every single for rent sign, call every single for rent. You're looking to develop relationships with wholesalers, and you're also people who are marketing their property for rent on Zillow or Craigslist or things like that, might be motivated sellers who might be open to either a low ball cash offer or some type of owner financing. I'm beginning to take over management on a property this week. It's a 2-unit for somebody, and they did a seller finance deal. So seller financing is a great way to do it.
Number 2, plug into your local REI community. That is Facebook groups, that online, that is REI networking groups, so you can learn, network, build your connections, and build your and know your local markets. Judah, number 3.
Pick a plan and execute. So as I said yesterday, it's not your girlfriend. It's not like it has to be, you're excluding all other plans, but you can stay focused better if you just pick something. And pick a marketing strategy and pick a way of doing deals. So and then just begin taking action. I'm going to hang up bandit signs is what I'm deciding to do. Then actually hang up bandit signs.
Number 3, walk 200 houses. Look, if you don't hit 200 houses, it's kind of like the conversation of like, shoot for the stars and you land on the moon. Start now. Get a plan. Go out. Look at them. Figure out what the market looks like. Figure out what people like. What kind of finishes are attracting buyers. What kind of finishes are getting top numbers, and what kind of finishes are not. By going out and physically looking at these houses, it's going to give you an idea of what your market looks like.
Yeah, the important thing there is it will take you 2 to 3 months, but you want to get started in your first month and get as much action taken there as possible.
That's right.
Pick a spec home and analyze it. So you want to decide what you're looking to buy and then get an MLS spreadsheet printed off on every single one of those and do a financial analyst as best you can. What you're going to do is you're going to get really good at running numbers and calculating things and looking for outliers and seeing price ratio versus tax ratio and see things that are too high or too low. Same with rent ratios. It looks like on the northern end of King Street, this is what a 3-bedroom rents for, but on the south end, it's this. The other thing that's going to allow you to do is really quickly look at an MLS sheet. Josh, I was reminded of this the other day when someone was like, Judah, how long has this property been on the market? I'm like, dude, I sent you the MLS sheet like 3 days ago. And they did not, number one, they didn't know that their days on market was on there. They also didn't know that DOM meant days on market. They also didn't know where to quickly find it on the MLS sheet. So, just looking at and becoming familiar with those things, it's just a great practice to get into.
Number 6, get your financials straight. This is a pretty straightforward thing. A lot of people will put it first and then never do it, and so they never get started.
And then they never get past it.
That's right. So we put it in the middle. It's really an important part of getting to the next level. You got to do it, but don't do it first. Get your feet moving. Start rolling down the hill and getting the ball rolling. But then, get it done. Figure out what you
actually come up with a list of these are my assets, these are my liabilities. This is my income, this is my expenses.
And once you have the groundwork, then start setting your goals and projections, short term to long term.
Exactly.
We finished yesterday with take stock of your assets, and we're not talking about financial assets. I don't care how many houses you have in this portion of the getting started guide. I guess we're talking about personal strengths, your connections, what you know, and how it relates to investing in real estate.
Right. So you need to know your personality makeup. You need to know, on the DISC profile where you fit. I would recommend you buy the book Strengths Finder. You just need to know all about yourself. The other thing that we didn't touch on yesterday that I just want to talk about that's so critical with this is, if Josh is an outgoing guy and I'm an introvert, I need to not do deals like Josh is doing them, because Josh is going to structure his deals differently based on his strengths.
Yep.
If I have a great job, and I do at Slate House Group, me like replacing my income isn't as big a goal for me as building wealth and doing other things like that. I can take on more slow plays. Josh might hate his job. Josh's wife might hate her job. Josh might want to send their kids to private school. So Josh might be trying to do a totally different type of deal. Josh might have great credit and I might have awful credit. Like, know as much as you can about your current situation and do deals based on your credit score, your income, your assets, your personal strengths, and your personal weaknesses. Take
Yep.
stock of who you are and how you're going to invest because of it.
That's right. All right. So that's where we stuck. That's where we stopped yesterday. Number 7, or I guess this is number 8. All right. Number 8 thing that you got to do in your first 30 days. This is so vital. It's so core, and it's something that so many people miss. And I think, Judah, part of it is because there's so many gurus out there trying to sell a $30,000 course to a newbie investor who, try to teach them the level 6.0 way to flip a house or do a deal. You got to get a coach, a mentor, or an accountability partner in your business.
Right. And it's not, and by the way, I'm not telling you to write a check with a comment in it for coaching. That's not what I'm telling you to do. I'm talking about getting somebody local to be your running buddy. So, right. and this comes, anybody who's been through a sobriety process or any 12 steps out there, there's something called your sponsor, but then you also have accountability partners. And, at your church, you've got a pastor, but then you've also got people who are like your deacons or your spiritual mentors or other people who you talk to. So you want people you can learn from. Hopefully Josh and me are those people for you, but you also want people beside you. And here's the reason this is so important. You need to say your goals out loud to somebody. You need to have somebody say, hey, I have people who say to me, Judah, you told me that you're going to do X, Y, Z. And just before Corona, you were going to do these things. And then you used the excuse that Corona was happening. And so you couldn't. Things are opening up now. Are you starting to shoot those videos you talked about? Are you starting to write that course material you talked about? Are you starting to do this, this, and this? Because I shared who I am with people. If you're afraid of failure, you're not going to tell people what you want to do, because that way you can fail in secret. Well, you can't be successful on your own. You need to share your vision with people so that they can hold you accountable. This doesn't mean tell the world, but be 100% vulnerable with a couple people.
Well, and beyond that, look, this comes down to, you look at the very best athletes in the world. Who would think it would be appropriate for a world-class athlete, an Olympian, to go in without a coach? Right. Nobody would think that that's appropriate. Even with the New England Patriots with Brady in their corner as a quarterback, nobody would think that Belichick would just, go retire. That's ridiculous. You need a coach to guide you to go where you've never been before. You don't know where you're going. And it's really important that when you choose that coach the first time, you're choosing someone that is a little ahead of you. You don't want the guy who's done 10,000 deals and he's up at the managerial level at this point and trying to talk to you about how to navigate your first wholesale deal. Like, it's going to be way over your head, and it's going to be a waste of your time and money to do that.
Couple things. Best golfer in the world is Tiger Woods. And Tiger Woods still asks his caddy, hey, what do you think I should be shooting here? Do you think I should be using, the 2 wood or the 3 wood? What should I be using here? And the caddy is going to say, hey, look, do you notice how the green kind of does this or kind of does that? Michael Jordan, was out there shooting layups and free throws before his last game, practicing, trying to get better. This is the analogy that I want to use. You're never too good for a coach. We talked about Eric Brewer paying, outside consultants to come in.
Yep.
But you're also never be alone. There is no James Bond. James Bond is a fictitious character. He does not exist. You can't complete your mission on your own. The Navy SEALs, the most highly trained, well-equipped, badassery special forces unit in the world, doesn't send somebody to the end of the driveway to pick up the mail by themselves. There's no mission they do with less than 4 people.
Even James Bond had Henny Penny. Come
Yeah.
on. Like, really?
Honey Penny, not Henny Penny.
Even if you're a competitor, like I'll tell you what, some of the best accountability partners I've ever had were people that were competing for the same properties in the same space with me.
Right.
Because guess what? We'd get together and bounce ideas off each other, and it's like 1 + 1 = 11. You know, I mean, I pull so much out of these conversations and out of these networking groups and out of these masterminds that, you know, you're taking away more than, you know, the sum of the parts, right? Like
Synergy is what that's called. Yeah, I completely agree. This is so critically important. But also, please don't get caught in the mentor trap where you are writing, you know, tens of thousands of dollars a check for coaching.
Yeah, you don't need to do that right now. You don't, like, especially first 30 days. Forget it. All right. Okay, so number 8, make 10 offers.
Make 10 offers. Listen, this is a goal. You need to write 10 offers so that even if all of them fail, you can say, I took action 10 times. Well, I see a lot of people who a deal comes to them, they do that deal, and they think that they have succeeded in real estate investing. Well, that deal was a very easy deal for them to find and finance and do or whatever. You still need to make 10 other offers. Yep. And that way, you know what's happening. You're not just like working on 2 or 3 deals and maybe they work, maybe they don't. Your goal should be in your first 30 days to find 10 properties that you would like to buy, find out at what price or what entity structuring, what financing structuring you would buy them at, and make an offer. If they fail, great. But at least you have identified, then you've got data points. Okay, why did they fail? Did I offer too little, or was my financing terms not appropriate, or whatever the case may be? But just set a goal that your first 30 days, I'm not going to try and buy a property. I'm not going to try to do this. I'm not going to try to do that. You're not a real estate investor if you're not walking properties and making offers. Everything else supports those 2 activities: walking properties, making offers.
I got to piggyback on this too.
Yeah.
A lot of people are afraid, like, okay, well, how do I know what those numbers are going to be? So this is a cumulative process. These are 10 things that you should do your first 30 days, and maybe it should be your first 90 days, but like squeeze them into 30 days. By the time you get to making offers, remember, you've already walked a ton of houses. You've already done the analysis. You've also sat down and figured out what your type of property, your ideal property is going to be. And you've got this long list that you've already made the calculations. In addition, if you've never done a deal before, put in a fudge factor. Add an extra 10% or 20% on your construction costs. Because guess what? Sometimes the best deal that you could get out of a situation is not having the offer accepted. And that's okay. But you need to go through the process, because if you're 20% below where you need to be on a property and the offer gets accepted, that sets you up for a really great situation where you can fall backward into success. That's phenomenal.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, yeah. I mean, make the offers, go do it. Don't be afraid of it. All they can say is no. All they can do is chase you out of the house and yell at you on the phone. Who cares?
Right.
All right. Last but not least, I'd like to talk about this one a little bit, Judah, because this is exactly how I did my very first wholesale deal. I got a deal from a guy that used to work for me. I had a construction company that I closed, got into real estate, and this guy calls me up and says, I just got out of rehab. I'm a cocaine addict, and I haven't paid my mortgage in 6 months. I knew where the property was because I put windows in his house, when he was working for me. So I'm thinking, hey, this is great. I go out, take a look at the place. It's the ugliest house on a great neighborhood, tons of equity, made him the offer, ended up making $30,000 wholesaling that property, and it launched my real estate investment career. But it all came because I gave a card to everybody. I mean, you can get cheap cards from Vistaprint online. I think that you can get like 100 free cards or something like that. You pay the shipping, it's $5. You've got business cards, and hand them out and talk to everybody. Now I'm going to shut up.
So I would just say that I've done deals like this as well, and tell everyone you're a real estate investor comes at the end after you've already taken some action. It should not be the first thing that you do, and you should not rely on this. So people do this wrong. They either don't tell their friends and family and people at church and coworkers that they're a real estate investor, or they tell people too soon and too often and too early in the process. So one of the ways that I did this, one of the ways that I told everyone in my sphere of influence that I was a real estate investor is I had a shiny new black 3 Series BMW, was very proud of it. And I swallowed my pride, and across the top back of the windshield, I put a sticker that said, "We buy houses," and my personal cell phone number. Lady from church saw it, said, "Judah, what do you mean you buy houses? Tell me about that." I said, "Well, I solve people's real estate problems. If you know anybody who has a real estate problem and I can solve that problem for them, I'll give you a check for $250. She told me about a friend of hers who was trying to sell a house. They were trying to sell it FSBO. I listed it with a friendly realtor, at a wholesale price, and I also started marketing it for sale by owner. Or excuse me, like a rent to own. And I was like, well, I'll either flip this or rent to own, whichever happens first. I ended up flipping it and made some money. There's 2 lessons there, by the way. FSBOs never work. Don't try FSBOs. All I had to do was get that property exposed to the market, and it sold before I could rent to own it. And I'm really great at finding tenant buyers. And the other thing is, your friends and family will help you if you let your friends and family help you, and pay them a referral of $200, $500, something like that, when and if you do the deal. And they'll be on the lookout. I mean, people still to this day, friends and family call me and they're like, "Hey, Judah, 123 Main Street, I was by there, the grass looks high. Hey, Judah, I was by my grandma's house today, and I can tell that there's hoarders there, and there's a foreclosure sign in the front yard," or whatever else. Like, you want to buy these, you should call these people and see what's going on. So just let everybody in your sphere of influence know that you do deals. The other thing is, the other caveat of this, and this goes into more training for a different place. Whenever you're talking to anybody about a real estate deal, always ask them, "Hey, Josh, do you have any other real estate to sell?" If you're ever buying a deal from somebody, "Hey, do you have any other real estate that you might want to sell?" I couldn't get together with people on property A because of whatever reason, and I asked them, "Do you have any other real estate to sell?" And they started telling me about property B that they didn't think would be a fit for me for some reason or whatever, and I was actually able to buy property B. That's happened to me no less than 3 times. Sometimes I've bought 2. I forget how many times I've bought, both or multiple or whatever, but at least 3 times I haven't bought property A and just kind of threw it out there. "Hey, Josh, well, do you have any other real estate for sale, or know about any other real estate for sale?"
My largest wholesale deal, it was a 6-figure wholesale fee, came from that line. I mean, this is this is several years ago, but it was a 11-unit building right near Temple University. That was
nice.
There was a shell, and this woman had a squatter in the property that she was legally evicting from the property. Contacted her about a totally different house. It was a phenomenal deal. But yeah, I mean, you got to ask the question. You never know. It's awesome. Wow, look at this. We're on time today. It's amazing.
We're on time. Hey, so listen, if you're interested in these slides, Josh and I are very interested in producing content that is relevant and meaningful. If you have any questions about the content that we've gone over with these 10 things, just reach out to us. This show does not exist to stroke our egos. Josh and I are salesmen, and we stroke our egos by going out there and closing big deals. This show is for you as a real estate investor. So if you're not getting value out of this, let us know what we need to stop doing or start doing so that you can find value here.
You can email me at josh@hardmoneybankers.com, and I will send this over to you. Send it out to you. It's not a big deal. Jana, listen, I reached out to you on Facebook. I owe you a book. all these comments that you're throwing in here every day, I'd like to send you a book. So after our show, reach out to me. If you're new to the show, we give away a book every day based on the best comment of the day. So I get a handful going out. If you want to reach out to me, I'll send this out to you. All right, she's responding.
Please like and share this show with other people so that other people can find us. It's very meaningful to us. The best way you can say thank you for what we do. And there's a lot of people who say, man, I really appreciate what you do is like this show, like the real estate hackers community, like Slate House Group, like Hard Money Bankers of Central PA. Those are great and meaningful ways.
Yep. Awesome, guys. We'll be back here again tomorrow with Anthony Moore and finish up the week on Friday. See you at noon tomorrow. All right, guys.
Everybody.
See ya.